You may have heard of The Bride of Frankenstein, the sequel to 1931's hit Frankenstein movie. Or for newer audiences, perhaps you've heard of The Bride of Chucky, one of the films in the long-going horror series. Now what about The Bride of Godzilla though? Unless you are a hardcore Godzilla fan, then you may not have heard of this Godzilla movie that was set to have Godzilla face off against, you guessed it, a giant robotic young woman. This cancelled movie was one of the most bizarre and wacky Toho Godzilla movie ideas, and if you've seen all the Toho movies, then you would know how strange they can be. And the synopsis to this lost film reveals that this story makes Godzilla's Revenge and the original Godzilla vs. Kong look like masterpieces. Residents, this is Jacob, and let's get to it. Even with over 30 total Godzilla films released to date, there's still a good amount more that never made it into production. The very first of these was The Bride of Godzilla. While this movie never had an official title, fans that caught wind of this story gave it the name Bride of Godzilla. But others may also know it as Godzilla vs. the Robot Daughter. I haven't even got to the synopsis of this story yet, and I still imagine some of you are already being like, what the hell was Toho on back in the day? The Bride of Godzilla was originally going to be the sequel to Godzilla Raids Again, and the third and final act in the original Gojira line of monster movies. Apparently, this film was cancelled due to Toho not feeling so good about developing another film in quick succession, like they did with Godzilla Raids Again, but I think it was just a cover-up. It seems way more likely that the complete absurd plot of this movie had Toho feeling uneasy. A crazed scientist known as Dr. Shida presumably lost his wife to death or some other unknown cause. Being a mad scientist, Dr. Shida decides to create a robot in the likeness of his lost wife. If only he waited for 2019. During the time Shida was working on his robo-wife, Godzilla and Anguirus showed up to unleash havoc across the land. So that got Dr. Shida thinking, if he can build a robot to be his wife, why not build a giant robot in the shape of his daughter to combat the monsters? So that's what he did. No specific information was ever provided regarding how this robo-girl looked, except that she was massive and naked. Dr. Shida may have had some hardcore issues, I'm just saying. In the original Godzilla film, Dr. Kiyohei Yamane theorized that Godzilla was able to stay hidden due to immense underwater trenches. Dr. Shida decided to take this idea one step further and proposed that not only are there underground tunnels, but actually full ecosystems in a hollow earth sort of scenario. The doctor then went on to say that both Godzilla and Anguirus originated and lived in this area. Around this point in the story, Dr. Shida was supposed to make it to this hollow earth, and here he would have discovered that not only did the known Godzilla and Anguirus come from here, but that the whole location was full of life. There was intended to be multiple individuals of both the Godzilla and Anguirus species, a wide variety of larger than normal variations of your typical animals found above the surface like fleas, lizards, and birds, and to go on top of all of this, apparently they were going to have a race of beautiful mermaids in this underground oasis. These mermaids must have been good looking cause old Dr. Shida forgot all about his wife robot and the giant naked version of his own daughter, and he fell in love with one of them. While Shida was here, Godzilla and Anguirus were supposed to have a major brawl. The fight must have continued to the surface area because the next thing we have in the synopsis states that both monsters, along with a giant chameleon and a Archaeopteryx, one of the first known bird-like dinosaurs, appear on the island of Kyushu, the third largest island in Japan. To stop these creatures, Dr. Shida performs the finishing touches on his robot daughter and sets the creation out against the monsters. Dr. Shida's prized creation then proceeded to defeat both the chameleon and the dino bird with relative ease. She then kicked the crap out of Anguirus, breaking the poor guy's jaw. The only monster left in the robot daughter's way was Godzilla. This fight probably would have carried out like most of the Godzilla fights, a back and forth tug-of-war style confrontation with no clear victors at first. When Godzilla was supposed to use his most powerful weapon, his atomic breath, the robot daughter was still able to shake it off like it was nothing. If you're still here with me and you think all the events that we've went over so far were nuts, well, this is when shit gets really weird. This moment in the story, with Godzilla clearly unable to win against the robot daughter, the big G-Man decides he's going to fall in love with it. Godzilla was then supposed to walk side by side with the giant naked robot lady into a cave. Why? Well, judging by the absurdness of this story, they were probably gonna There was even supposed to be a human character that mutters the line, "It is the foreplay of love to be beaten." I'm sure they were referring to Godzilla getting all randy due to the Robo Girl defeating him, but really, you can take that line in so many dirty ways that it makes even Al stay uncomfortable. In the end, it was all a trap though. Godzilla didn't know that his new mistress was actually a timed hydrogen bomb in disguise, waiting for the right time to blow up. Once the two made it back to Godzilla's home, the Hollow Earth area, the robot detonated her explosive payload, presumably killing Godzilla and destroying the entire underground ecosystem. And this is where the story would have ended. See, I wasn't lying earlier when I said the story was insane. While the movie was never made, thank God, you can still see some elements of this idea carried on in future movies. The original Rodan movie that we talked about in this video right here, go take a look if you haven't so far, took the Hollow Earth idea and ran with it. Godzilla vs. Kong was mental and cheesy, and later on in the Godzilla series, we did end up getting Mechagodzilla and other robotic monsters. Just none of these were supposed to look like Dr. Sheeta's naked daughter. It's a shame, really. If you had a good time with this wacky story, residents, make sure to watch this video with some of your friends and subscribe to Dangerville if you haven't already. Right now, I want you to go into the comments and tell me if you would have wanted the Bride of Godzilla in your monster collection. As always, residents, this has been Jacob, and peace out. Godzilla King of the Monsters is next week. Woo!